watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headline, out of Yemen, 39 civilians killed in Saudi-led bombings. And U.S. airstrike causes Shiite militias to leave Tikrit fight. And a report says co-pilot had crashed plane had history of depression. And House passes Medicare bill in rare bipartisan move. And a report says U.S. soldiers contractors sexually abused 54 children in Colombia. And in Indiana, it allows needle exchange in response to HIV outbreak. And in Kentucky, overhauls approach to heroin addiction. Ohio lawmakers discloses her abortion, denounces inhuman anti-choice bill. And Monsanto lobbyist claims glyphosate safe to drink, refuses to drink it. In Illinois, National Guardsman cousin arrested on terror charges. And in Wisconsin, man suspected of killing state trooper tied to white supremacy. And in Michigan, video shows RoboCop beating unarmed auto worker in the head. And Ferguson protester win curbs on police tear gas use. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television Division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV, but before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, Saudi-led bombing campaign has entered its second day in Yemen. While the U.S.-backed campaign is targeting Houthi Shiite rebels, at least 39 civilians had been reportedly killed. Amnesty International confirmed at least 6 of the dead were children under 10. Meanwhile, deposed Yemeni President Abu Rabu Mansour Hadi is left his refuge in Aden for Saudi Arabia. And Iraqi officials say 9 of their forces have been accidentally killed in an airstrike as part of the U.S.-backed effort to retake the city of Tikrit, the self-proclaimed Islamic State. U.S.-led airstrikes began Wednesday, prompting thousands of Iranian-backed Shiite militias who were fighting alongside the Iraqis to boycott the battle and retreat. U.S. Army General Lloyd Austin, commander of the U.S. Central Command, assured lawmakers, including Senator John McCain, there's no Shiite militias in Tikrit, and said the folks that we are supporting in clearing Tikrit. John McCain asked, are the Shia militias still in the fight? And the general replied, no, sir, they're not. They're not part of the clearing operations in Tikrit. And McCain asked, so the airstrikes that we're carrying out in support are only in support of Iraqi military activities? And the general replied, that's correct, sir. Precondition for us to provide support was that the Iraqi government had to be in charge of this operation. We had to know exactly who was on the ground. German authorities are searching for evidence to explain why the co-pilot of the German Wings airplane deliberately crashed into the French Alps, killing himself and 149 others on board. Recovering audio shows 27-year-old co-pilot Andreas Lebitz was in the cockpit alone, and the plane's captain was locked out, pounding on a door to get in. Earlier, the German newspaper Bild reported Lebitz had suffered serious depression episodes 6 years ago. Excuse me. In a rare bipartisan move, the House lawmakers have overwhelmingly passed a bill to overhaul Medicare's payment system. Measure would increase payments to doctors, passing higher costs on to some recipients in the form of higher premiums. It also keeps in place an insurance health program for children. Senate leaders will wait for more than 2 weeks to take up the bill. We'll see what they do with it. The new report commissioned by the Colombian government and FARC rebels has concluded U.S. soldiers and military contractors sexually abused at least 54 children in Colombia between 2003 and 2007. The investigator cites one in the case where 53 girls in the town of Melgar were targeted by contractors who filmed abuse and sold the films as pornography. In another case, a 12-year-old girl was allegedly drugged and raped. The U.S. Army sergeant and contractor. Under immunity agreements, none of the alleged abuses were ever punished. Media group FAIR notes the story received no coverage in U.S. corporate media. A number of U.S. outlets have reported in new Justice Department probe that includes U.S. drug enforcement agents in Colombia participated in sex parties with prostitutes hired by the Colombian drug cartels. In Indiana, Governor Mike Pence has declared a public health emergency over a spike in HIV cases in Scott County. In the southeastern part of the state, the outbreak includes 79 new cases, all linked to injections of a potent pharmaceutical painkiller. Pence will allow Scott County authorities to set up needle exchange program to combat the spread of HIV. And Kentucky will also let local health authorities set up a needle exchange as part of a major new approach to handling heroin and painkiller addiction. Under the new law, the state will also allow more people to carry naloxone, the antidote which prevents overdose deaths, and will stop criminally charged addicts who survive overdoses, or charging them for overdoses. Ohio House lawmakers have passed a bill that would make most abortions a felony offense. The bill would ban abortion after a fetal or embryonic heartbeat is detectable, which happens in the earliest stages of pregnancy when many women are not realized they're pregnant. Doctors who violate the law would face up to a year in prison. Ohio State Representative Teresa Fetter rose to denounce the bill, disclosed she had an abortion after she was raped while serving in the military, and said what they're doing is so fundamentally unhuman, unconstitutional. I've sat here too long. I dare every one of them to judge me because there's only one judge I'm going to face, and I've heard the word judge. And you deserve my lecture right now. I dare you to walk in my shoes and walk after I leave this chamber. Dare you to vote for this bill because you know it's fundamentally inhuman for you to do so. Earlier this month, another lawmaker, Arizona State Representative Victoria Steele, disclosed her experience with child sexual abuse during a debate over another anti-choice bill. Arizona bill passed in the hands of Republican Governor Doug Ducey. It bans abortion coverage in health plans purchased through the federal exchange, requires doctors to tell women they can potentially reverse a drug-induced abortion despite the lack of any scientific evidence. An agribusiness giant, Monsanto, has agreed to pay a fine for failing to report hundreds of uncontrolled releases of toxic chemicals at a plant in Idaho. Monsanto will pay $600,000 in a tiny fraction of more than $240 million in profit the last quarter alone. Meanwhile, footage emerged and lobbyists claimed Monsanto Roundup weed killer is safe to drink, but then refusing to drink it. Earlier this week, a report of the World Health Organization, International Agency for Research in Cancer, found glyphosate, a main ingredient in Monsanto's Roundup, likely causing cancer. A member of the Illinois National Guard and his cousin have been arrested and accused of plotting to join the self-proclaimed Islamic State Muslim terrorists in Syria of carrying out attacks inside the United States. Guardsman Hassan Edmonds allegedly sent messages to an undercover agent saying he would bring the flames of the war to the heart of the United States if he could not get into Syria. His cousin, Jonas Edmonds, allegedly boasted to an agent of plans to kill up to 150 people in Illinois' military facility where his cousin had trained. An alleged bank robber accused of killing 2 people, including a state trooper earlier this week in Wisconsin, has been identified as a white supremacist with a criminal record. Stephen Timothy Snyder died in a shootout with Trooper Trevor Casper Tuesday in the mid-90s. Snyder was part of a white supremacist group convicted of an attack on a group of African Americans and Latinos. A newly released video shows police in Detroit suburb of Inkster pummeling and tasing a 57-year-old unarmed auto worker. Video shows Officer William Melendez approached Floyd Dent's car with his gun drawn. Another officer pulled Dent out to the ground. Melendez placed him in a chokehold and pounded him in the head 16 times. Dent said he thought he was going to die. and said, "I'm lucky to be living, because I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to kill me, especially when they were choking me. I mean, I was on my last breath. I told the officer, please, I can't breathe." Police claim Dent threatened and bit them, although they have provided no evidence. They also claimed they found crack cocaine in his car. Dent says drugs were planted. His drug test came back clean. Melendez, the officer who pummeled Dent, is nicknamed RoboCop and has been sued repeatedly for excessive force. During an earlier stint in Detroit, he was indicted for leading a corrupt ring of officers who planted evidence, although he ultimately was acquitted. In 1996, he and a partner shot and killed unarmed Lou Adkins in a case Detroit paid $1 million to settle. And protesters in Ferguson, Missouri have won a settlement requiring police to restrict the use of tear gas following militarized response to protests over the police shooting of Michael Brown. St. Louis City and County Police, as well as Missouri State Highway Patrol, all agreed to requirements including clear warnings for tear gas use. A judge will supervise the terms for 3 years. Attorneys say that the St. Louis area will be one of just 2 police jurisdictions in the country with such a policy for tear gas. And that's it for the World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 10:10 a.m., a caller from 800 block of Old Tunnel Road reported 2 men looking into vehicles in a parking lot. They were gone when an officer arrived. And at 10:40 a.m., a caller from Sutton Way reported a possible stalking issue. 10:54 a.m., a woman from 600 block of South Auburn Street reported a person held her against her will and choked her. She did not need medical attention. And 2:17 p.m., a caller from 800 block of Sutton Way reported a person threw an object out of a car and it hit the caller's car. 12:28 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Clark Street reported an unknown man locked himself in the caller's bathroom. And 1:48 p.m., a caller from 100 block of Mill Street reported a woman stole clothing. 3 p.m., a caller from 900 block of Plaza Drive reported people acting obscene, smoking pot and drinking alcohol. Woman was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. 6:46 p.m., caller from 100 block of Dorsey Drive reported a man with possible blood on his face demanding a ride and refusing to leave. The person could not be located. 7:01 p.m., caller reported a man trying to get inside. Another call was made at 8:13 p.m. He was arrested on suspicion of possessing a controlled substance for sale. 6:58 p.m., caller from 1400 block of East Main Street reported finding drugs in a baggie which were collected. And 8:45 p.m., a caller from 400 block of South Auburn Street reported a man was chasing a woman with a child. They agreed to separate for a while. At 9:05 p.m., a caller reported a woman yelling for help but by the Kidder Cemetery. No one was located. And 10:59 p.m., a woman reported she had been assaulted by her father and has brain damage. And Thursday, 1:50 a.m., a caller from hospital reported a person refusing to leave the emergency room. A woman was arrested on suspicion of trespassing. In Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 9:07 a.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Airport Road reported income tax fraud. 9:31 a.m., a caller from Pascali and Banner Quaker Hill Roads reported a group of men drinking and driving in the area Friday evening. Extra patrols were requested. And 12:28 p.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Woodside Lane reported a man trying to break into a residence. 54 p.m., 1:50, a man from Quail Post Court reported people tore his fence apart to access a neighboring property. And 2:36 p.m., a caller reported a couple under the influence of drugs driving with unrestrained children, Highway 20 and West Empire Street. They could not be located. And 3:33 p.m., a caller from Pleasant Valley Road and Commercial Avenue reported a drunken person passed out in the hood of a customer's vehicle and was then sitting on a corner. 5:44 p.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Brooks Road reported a physical fight involving a chainsaw. No crime was found to have occurred. At 7:12 p.m., a caller from McCourtney and Limekiln Road reported an overturned vehicle with all the parties out of the vehicle. And Thursday, 1:14 a.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Wilson Road reported a prowler in the yard. And 4:24 a.m., a man from Lakeshore South reported 2 women and 2 men were burglarizing his house, came into his room and didn't say anything. Report was unfounded. In Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday, 11:05 a.m., a caller from Pioneer Park reported vandalism. And Thursday, 12:06 a.m., a caller from Pioneer Park reported 3 boys acting strange and checking out the light poles. And 1:01 a.m., a woman from Commercial Street reported she was jumped by another woman who was then laughing at her. A report was taken. And 1:56 a.m., a caller from 200 block of Commercial Street reported the front and rear doors had been broken. And that's it for the blotter today. Now thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, Neo opens doors to new youth center in Grass Valley. And Sam Strange denied parole in double murder. In one room, a pair of teens gathered to watch a live band perform on a small stage. Others sat in a smaller space nearby, munching on snacks around a table. In the next room, 2 young girls were in the middle of a competitive game of foosball. Outside, 17-year-old William Stearns gave local nonprofit Neo Youth Center his seal of approval. "I like the atmosphere of it," he said. "It just gives off good vibes." Stearns and his peers joined Neo staff, board members, and community supporters on Thursday's night to celebrate the opening of the organization's new Jorsky Drive youth space with ribbon-cutting ceremony and an open house. Youth Center will be the only center in the county open to all teens, said Lynn Skuckrud, NEO's co-founder and co-director, making it an invaluable resource in an area suffering from a lack of community spaces for young people. It's an ongoing notorious problem in Nevada County where there's nowhere for teens to go, she said. We definitely feel like we can fill that void that has been seen here for a long time. Beginning April 7th, the center will be open 2:30 to 6 p.m. on Tuesday and Thursdays. Teens can drop in during those hours to receive homework help, participate in arts and crafts, play video and board games, or just hang out. The center will also host weekday, evening, and weekend concerts, movie nights, and dances. NEO was established in 2008 as a youth-centered component of the Coalition of Drug-Free Nevada County organization aimed to empower youth to live healthy lives, build self-esteem, and be positive influences on their peers. Skockrug said the organization has hosted more than 70 youth events over the past 6 years, primarily on the weekends at various locations in the county. New space will allow the organization to expand those offerings to after-school hours when students need them the most. We wanted to address the time frame when young people don't have much to do and are usually unsupervised and unengaged. With the help of the community and the youth volunteers and the local business, the organization transformed a 3-room building on Joyce Drive to a youth-friendly space, replacing the carpets with hardwood floors and painting the walls in bright colors. 15-year-old Mary Vogel, who serves as one of the organization's youth coordinators, said the youth center gives teens a unique experience that's hard to find anywhere else in the community. You get to meet new people, explore your interests with activities here. You can expand outside your box and learn new things. Carly Maxstone, 18, echoed those thoughts, adding that she likes the youth center isn't a place where teens need to have a particular hobby or religious affiliation to feel included. This place is for everyone to check out. Skockrug is hoping the center will serve as a momentum towards the organization's ultimate goal, opening a multi-generation community center that will offer after-school and weekend activities, as well as a family resource center, youth job training, and outdoor recreation. They've been working on a business plan and are in the process of exploring potential partners for a venture. We feel that we are in a really unique position to do it well and create something that's really positive for the community that will be able to last for a long time. In the meantime, said 16-year-old Haley Pritchard, the new youth space will be a source of support for teens in the county, whether they want to make new friends, pursue a new interest, or simply relax in a welcoming space. It's a great place to feel wanted, needed, and accepted, Pritchard added. Good program. On Friday, March 13th, parole hearing was held for the convicted murderer Sam Strange, and he was denied parole for brutal murder of 2 teenage girls, Dawn Donaldson and Chrissy Campbell. Strange is serving 2 15-year to life sentences for the 1996 convictions. Strange was denied parole in his first parole hearing, August 27, 2013. His next hearing is set for sometime in 2016, and it's not clear why it was moved up. Since shortly after his arrest in '94, Strange has consistently pointed the fingers at 2 other men. Strange maintains that he witnessed the crimes and only disposed of the girls' bodies, keeping quiet out of fear of retaliation. A Friday hearing, Strange maintained his previous claims that he was not responsible for the murders. He only helped hide the victims' bodies after the real perpetrators threatened his family. Nevada County Deputy District Attorney James Phillips pointed to trial testimony the girls were driven to Strange's residence before the crimes, that the axe and a sledgehammer used in the murder came from Strange's garage, that Strange disposed of the weapons in a nearby pond, that Strange's fingerprints were recovered from the plastic bags and held the victims' bodies, and that Strange repeatedly lied to the police when questioned. We expressed cynicism about his story that all he did was get rid of the bodies, Phillips said. The physical evidence tied him and no one else to the crime. Emotional, tense hearing was attended by relatives of both victims. Members of Campbell's family indicated they were not opposed to Strange's release, but Donaldson's mother and sister disagreed, saying they were relieved and happy that his parole was denied. According to Phillips, in the end, the hearing officers weren't satisfied with Strange's explanation. The hearing held at Soledad State Prison lasted 3 hours. The Board of Prison Terms set Strange's next parole date for 2018. There are tough cases, and when the defendants refuse to accept responsibility and don't appear to have rehabilitated, we argue strenuously against parole, Newell said in a prepared statement. DDA Phillips did a good job for the office and the citizens of Nevada County. And that's it for today in our news. Have a good weekend.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a